everyone, welcome back to Garner Reviews. We're once again out in the tool shed today. Special guest though, this is Dr. Dank Fate. He is a doctor of masculinity, and he is also an electrical apprentice. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So today he's joined me because we're going to be talking about insulated screwdrivers from two brands. Super excited, but I wanted to get someone else in here. I have my personal preference, but this guy's using them, on a daily basis, way more than I'm ever going to use them. So I wanted to get someone else in here who gets to use these every day, and then someone who can talk about, the things that they liked and disliked about each brand. So, of course, we're talking about Wiha here, and then we've got ourselves Wera. Two very common, in Germany, very well-known brands, German-made tools. They're both of them super high quality, and there's not enough good things to say about these two brands really. But without further ado, let's jump in here. Tell me about it. You got to run these for a couple weeks, I believe.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show.
Of course, yeah.
So that's awesome. I ran both brands for a couple of weeks. I alternated from the Wera to the Wiha kind of on a daily basis. I'd use these one day and then these the other day. And so they both got some decent use behind them. I do have to note that as an apprentice, I wasn't able to work on live panels.
Definitely.
But I did use them on just normal everyday use, and asked my journeyman. I got a couple that I work with primarily, and asked them their opinions, and they actually used them a little bit here and there.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, it was a couple weeks.
Awesome. So as like an electrical apprentice, is it electrician apprentice or what? I don't know. Electrical apprentice, something like that.
Like an apprentice electrician or whatever.
There we go, apprentice electrician.
It's all the same.
So you're not going to be working on like a live panel. Totally cool. But on a day-to-day basis, like, are you just running insulated stuff anyways, just because that's easy, it all works anyways, or would you use just a typical screwdriver with a regular like shaft and non-insulated one?
Yeah. So actually, I thought about that, and personally, I would use on like the daily driver, just a normal screwdriver.
Okay.
I'd want a good brand. Maybe if these brands just make normal ones, I would probably go with one of those.
Definitely. Yeah, just a regular uninsulated shaft.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'd probably just use a normal one. The day I'm able to run an work on a live panel. Obviously you need these, but I'd probably just run a normal one every day, because these things are, they're high quality, they're kind of expensive for a tool and stuff. And so on a daily driver, they get so used and abused that I wouldn't want to wear these things down. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. As far as like, here's one of the questions. I mean, I've used these a little bit, but again, I'm not an electrician, so I don't really get to use these as they're meant for. Like Fitment, I've always been curious. Like, I think Wiha advertises this. It's like a really thin jacket here. It's a thin shaft as well, so it fits in really nice. Did you have any problems with either of these brands, like getting into spots to fasten anything down?
No.
Or did they all fit pretty good?
They all fit really well. And as far as thickness goes, like on the shank or shaft, as far as thickness goes, I didn't ever have any issues. On a live or on a panel, any panel really, looking at the screwdrivers that my journeymen were using on the live panel, they were about the same thickness maybe as the Wera.
Okay.
And that's pretty thick,
Yeah.
And so it
does look
seem
slightly
like
thicker than the Wihas. So.
It doesn't seem like there would be any issue with that.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I had no issues with them, with
Awesome.
either one.
Awesome. So now I'm kind of curious. Again, a couple of weeks, you got to use these daily, on and off. You had a couple of journeymen get to try them out as well. Tell me your thoughts. Kind of run through maybe each brand, pros and cons, and what your journeyman thought as well.
So it's kind of funny. Both journeymen, they both knew each brand. I got the feeling, they didn't say specifically, but I got the feeling that they may have been a little bit more towards the Wiha, liking
a little bit more partial there.
Yeah, a little bit more partial there. And it was kind of interesting because one, I think, is the grip here. It's a little bit thicker in the palm, and I think they probably like that a little bit. And then also the shank length on these are pretty long.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I wasn't into that so much, because when I twisted it, I would almost feel like I don't know if toroidal would be the right word, but a twist in the shank.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's torquing a little bit. It's kind of twisting.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so that threw me off a little bit. But when the journeyman used it, he actually preferred that. He said he felt it almost gave him feedback on how much torque he was putting into it.
That's interesting. Okay.
So that, that is kind of interesting. I like both of them a lot, but honestly, I lean a little bit more towards the Wera. Originally, I thought I was going to be definitely going to the Wiha because of the palm swell, but after using these grips, as odd as they look, for some reason they just fit my hand really well. In hand size, I mean, I got normal size man hands. They're not big or small.
Sure.
As odd as they look, they just fit really well, especially when you're actually using them.
Definitely.
They're super comfortable.
I'm glad you got normal sized man hands. So, yeah. I do too. Have normal sized man hands. Actually, mine are a little fat and a little bit stubbier than normal, but it's okay. So that's interesting. So you kind of like this grip style. It does look pretty interesting. Now, I feel like my personal experience, the few electricians I know and have talked to, both, like he said, both these brands are pretty well known in that community. Outside of that, people may not be as familiar with like Wiha and Wera and stuff like that, but these are just top of the line. These are great tools, and that is an interesting looking grip. I've always thought, man, it just seemed a little uncomfortable. That's kind of my initial impression, but Wera wouldn't produce something that they haven't put some research into and tested out and stuff. So I think a lot of people do like that, and I think if I gave this a little bit more time, I would probably find myself liking this quite a bit as well. And that was actually my biggest issue, I think, with the Weras was just this grip. I wasn't used to it. It wasn't necessarily uncomfortable. It was different. The one cool feature, and I'm not sure if you noticed it, these have been definitely quite a bit used, but on the Weras, on this style, they have this laser etching on the tips, and it's really hard to see. I mean, you're probably not going to see it on the camera, but what they're doing is, instead of like trying to make this magnetic or something, they actually take a laser and they create really fine etching on the tips of all their screwdrivers, or not, maybe not all of them, but certainly these ones. And it just really grabs the head of the screw really well, prevents it from falling off, and it just gets a really good bite. That feature, I was a little bit like, it seems like a gimmick, but it actually works. I'm just going to say it right now. Like, when I started testing it out, and I'm like, it actually bites down really good, as long as you did a good job making sure that if it was a number 2 Phillips, you actually grabbed the number 2 Phillips. It worked extremely well.
See, I was wondering if you tested that yourself, because I knew about that, but I didn't know really how to test it.
Sure.
Just, on daily use, it's kind of hard to tell,
Sure.
I suppose. But
did you notice either of these like slipping out very much though?
not really, no.
Yeah, I was gonna say the fitment on all of these though is they do such a good job machining these. They're built to such good specs that you're probably not going to notice like an insane difference, but to me it was certainly a difference and something to consider. Cons, pros, do you have any?
Cons, not really anything for the Wiha. The one thing that I'm a little hesitant on the Wera, although I prefer them, the one thing I'm a little bit hesitant on is the shank length. Now, I don't know if they sell screwdrivers with longer shanks.
Off the top of my head, I know they do in all their standard stuff. They have kind of some variants there. I'm not sure about their insulated lines. I'd have to look.
Okay. So the good thing about having the shorter shank like this, I noticed, was being able to torque things down really well.
Sure.
I felt like I could really get a lot of torque. This one, like I said, kind of twisted. I felt like I was able to get better torque with this. But with that being said, if you are working on a live panel, you want to be, at least in my mind, further away from the panel. Yeah. Where
definitely.
the Wiha come in come in handy. But then again, you also got to question, well, if this is really long, am I going to be as accurate, you know,
Sure.
with that?
Sure.
Is it long enough to make a mistake?
Fair enough.
I don't know.
Good
but
point.
pros and cons, I mean, they both have so many pros and not really too many cons, honestly.
Yeah.
I liked them both. I think it's just going to be personal preference in the grips.
Definitely. I totally agree. I think in terms of just raw performance, like these are just both winners no matter what. Like if you purchase a set from Wiha, from Wera, if they're insulated, non-insulated, like these are some of the best screwdrivers in the world, hands down. It's going to come down to, like you were saying, it's personal preference. Do you like that style grip? The one thing I will say that I know a little bit about from Wera at least is it seems like they offer a larger variety of like materials in their blades and stuff like that. I know they even make like an insulated one that's stainless steel. I'm not sure what applications call for that kind of stuff, but as far as I know, Wiha is pretty standard in what they build. It's one kind of style. It works great, no problems there. But if you need something a little bit more specialized, Wera might have you covered there. Both of them have an awesome basically display here on the top of the screwdriver. Kind of shows off what head you're grabbing. I feel like at least on this one, the Wiha's a little bit easier to see, but they're both very well marked, so when they're sitting in your bag, you can quickly glance and know exactly what you're grabbing. And then the only other thing that I've noticed really is, I think I'm not sure what you would call this right here. They've got these flat spots on, like, is that the bolster or something?
I'm not sure.
But to stop it from rolling, and it will do the job, but it's, you know, it's only got two flat sides and it tends to roll a little bit. The Weras, I feel like, stop a little bit sooner. That was a pretty good push, but I feel like that just, you know, the multiple sides there is probably a little bit more ideal for stopping that from rolling off the table or wherever you're working.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. And I like that you brought up the markings on the back. There were so many occasions over these couple of weeks where I'd be maybe holding on to something that I'm working on and I can't let go of it, and
Sure.
I got, you know, either one of them in my tool bag on my side, and having these identifiers on top was so nice. You know, it made it really quick, and I was able to see both of them real easily.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's a must. It's something simple, but when you're holding something and you can't really move too much, it's really nice to have that.
Definitely. Yeah, no doubt. Such good tools here. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I mean, if you guys want to check these out, I'll drop links to the manufacturers, and you can kind of check out their websites. A great spot to buy both these brands. KC Tool, I'm not affiliated with them or anything like that. They don't sponsor or anything, but they've got a bunch of different German brands on there. They sell all kinds of stuff. They sell Weras, they sell Nipex, or Nipex, however you say it. I mean, you go through a list of German tools, they've got a giant list. I'm pretty sure they've got a bunch of Wiha stuff on there. And I believe now Wiha has an actual, like, U.S. site where they're selling stuff. They've got some plants, I think, in the U.S. now where they're producing some stuff as well. So that's kind of cool. So I'll drop some links there. Final thoughts?
Love them both. Personally, I'd go with the Wera, but
Awesome.
That's just me. Like I said, my journeyman, more experience. I think they were going for these.
They're leaning there.
But
Cool.
yeah, there's just going to be personal preference.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys checking this out. Please hit that subscribe button. Maybe drop a like. He was expensive to get in because he's so handsome. So I would appreciate a little bit of a, yeah.
Well, you're my brother, so I guess you're just
certainly a
handsome
handsome
too.
one though.
No,
but
no.
we're gonna boost those numbers maybe a little bit. If we can get some more subscribers, that'd be great. Let me know in the comments. Do you guys use Wiha, Wera? Do you have any questions for this guy? I love engaging with you guys there. It's a lot of fun. I learn a lot. I'm sure there's probably plenty of electricians out there. Let me know what you think. What brand have you used? Which one seems more durable? Honestly, I'd be happy with either set, and you've got a little bit of a personal preference here. But yeah, let me know in the comment section. We'll catch you guys in the next one.